Hari Om. So let's listen mindfully. Oh, my Lulu ones. How big can you become? How great can you become? Can you become infinite? And that is the promise of our philosophy. What Swami Swatmananji told us is that we can become infinite. And remember, any amount of the finite can never make us infinite. And therefore, the great masters gave up the finite so that they could become infinite. And that is called sannyas. So this is the philosophy which India gave to the world, saying you can be infinite. And this philosophy, which Swami Swatmananji taught to us as Sat, Chit and Ananda, is not some utopian theory, but it is something that we can practice and we can actually live and we can achieve. And therefore, philosophy has to be practiced. And that philosophy in practice is called religion. You know, today we have a fad. I'm spiritual, I'm not. Very nice. I know the science, but I don't practice it. I understand what is gravity, but I jump from the top floor. Try. Understand? Science in practice, in application, becomes beneficial to us. So too, when philosophy is practiced, it becomes religion. You know, we have a fad, all religions are one. If all philosophies are one, then all religions are one. If philosophy does not teach us that we are infinite, there is only one thing that is infinite, you are not infinite, then the religion has to only keep us finite, it cannot make us infinite. Think. And therefore, the Hindu religion teaches us that you are infinite. And that same infinity is present in everyone. That infinity is called God in religion. And therefore, this religion says God is present in everyone. God is not only present in everyone, God is present in everything. Is it not? And therefore, it is in this religion that everything becomes worshipable. But a religion that says that God is up there and nowhere here, you cannot worship everything. If you get this statement, you will understand the gist of it. The statement is this: God is one is not the same as there is only one God. Let me repeat. God is one is not the same as there is only one God. So this we should understand about religion. Because the religion teaches us God is one. And the same God is present everywhere. And that practice in our life becomes culture. Right? So God is there in me, God is there in you, God is in everyone, and therefore that gets reflected in our culture. So what is culture? Culture means the way of living by which we can realize that infinity in us. That is called culture. So therefore, you can be named Rama. Why? Because you are potential Rama. Correct? You can be named Krishna. We dare to name you Krishna because you can be Krishna. You can realize your infinite self as Krishna. You can be Shiva. You can be Kali. You can be Durga. You can be Ishwari. Imagine. And therefore, our cultural practices permit us to be reminded that you are infinite, you are God. And what are we doing? Forgetting that, we are coming up with trendy names. What's your name? Ding Dong. Why? When my child was born, they rang the bell. Correct? Think. What an amazing idea has been given to us, and what are we taking? Think. Is it not? And therefore, understand that our culture is such an amazing culture. Swamiji, what about the wrong practices in culture that came out from ignorance of our religion? Let us say you've got a manual, and the manual says, insert it into the socket. Insert what? That I don't know. On top it was written instructions about the plug. That I didn't read. And then I read, insert it into the socket. What? 2 fingers. Correct? And you had a shocking experience. And then you said, this is all wrong. Why? Because I read the manual gave wrong instructions. Come on. Can that happen? The manual is right. We read it wrong. Philosophy, religion, culture. And wherever the manual has been read wrongly and we have had wrong practices, this culture has had the courage to accept that yes, we have practiced it wrongly, and therefore we will not stick to it, we will change it. Is it not? Correct? Are you casteist now? Are you sitting next to somebody because they are a Brahmin? No, right? You don't even know the caste of your friend. Correct? You're only caste in love. That's it. Is it not? You're out of your caste ideas. Is it not? How many of you planning for sati? Not of yourself, the person sitting next to you. Anybody planning? No, it's gone. And please remember who broke it. Remember, the Britishers did not break it. Thank you. Excellent. Is it not? Indians who followed the culture knew what went wrong, and Indians had the courage not to go on with it. They broke it. That is the flexibility, that is the amazing ability to adapt, to correct oneself, and to grow towards infinity. And this religion gives. Is it not? And because everyone is infinite, you can even do namaskar to others. Saluting your mother is possible only in this religion. Remember that. Because God exists in your mother. God exists in your father, God exists in your brother, God exists in your country. You can salute. Think. And therefore, to practice the philosophy, we have the religion. To practice the religion, we have culture. And what does culture give us? Culture gives us the facility for transformation, for becoming better. How do we become better? We become better when we master ourselves, not when we become slaves of ourselves. Correct? So self-mastery is the summary of our culture. And what is the opposite of self-mastery? The opposite of self-mastery is indulgence. Correct? Look at the life of an Olympic medalist. Look at the life of an Olympic aspirant. How disciplined is their life. Why? Because they've got great aspirations, and for great aspirations, petty desires has to be given up. Is it not? Indians have never looked to make petty things amazing. They've always looked to make great things graspable. Think. And therefore, Indians have always looked high. And that is our culture. So we decided to wake up early, not because we wanted to torture ourselves, but we wanted to tell our body, I need to grow higher than this. Correct? Indulgence is not our idea. To evolve is our idea. Because we don't want to stay here, we want to be there. And the practice of it is called tradition. And from practices that came down from the experimented conclusions of the great masters, they said, live like this, you will become infinite. Those practices given from generation to generation to generation, that became tradition. So live the tradition, that becomes culture. Live the culture, that becomes religion. Live the religion, you realize the truths of the great philosophy. These traditions are also not rigid, they are flexible because they are made according to whatever is your personality. And therefore, different people can practice different aspects of the tradition and can grow. See what an amazing facility. You want to worship God in form? You can. You want to worship God in the formless? You can. You want to worship God in the formless? You can. Think. You can take what you want. It's a supermarket. Go to the Chidambaram temple. How amazingly that idea is said. In Chidambaram temple, Bhagavan is in the form of Lord Nataraja, dancing pose. In all his hands, he's got so many different things. His hair is open. He's so amazingly depicted form. But look at 11 o'clock in the morning. The same Bhagavan is worshipped as Chandra Maulishwara. What is that? He's in the form of a round crystal ball. Which is the front of the ball? Which is the front of the linga? Which is the back? Which is the side? But yet, he's got a form which is round. So Bhagavan becomes formless. That's at 11 o'clock. Come to 6 o'clock in the evening. They'll have great ringing of the bells, and the pujari would come and take a beautiful arati plate, and there is an amazing screen made of golden leaves. And everybody would be standing there, and they would be waiting for the arati to happen. The pujari would open the screen and he would do the arati. And everyone will look. And what's there? Nothing. There's absolutely nothing there. And that is the formless aspect of the Lord. In the same temple, you have the form, you have the formless, and you have the formless. As per your taste, choose and grow. No other religion, no other philosophy, no other tradition can give us this freedom. And remember, if you lose this tradition and this culture, you will lose your freedom. How is this culture lived. How is this culture preserved? This culture is preserved only by one method, and that is called practice. Your great-grandfathers did puja, your father and mother did half puja. Today you do not do puja. Tomorrow you talk about puja as some girl's name. Correct? And what would happen? The entire tradition would go. Remember, your language is your tradition, is your culture. Think of it in so many amazing ways. The language represents the culture. Capital letters in English is I and G for God and for I. I am important, God is important. But in Indian languages, everything is the same, because God is there in everything. Even the language. It's an amazing creation. This is the creation, it's called Samskriti, Samskara. It is a creation of rishis. It's not an accident. It's a very, very, very well thought of, amazing tradition. Now, what is the tradition? That I will request our Pujya Swami Mitrananji to please come over and explain to us. Hari Om.